Hello everyone, it's Colin here. This is a 1985 Honda Magna VF700c, and the clutch slave cylinder has started leaking brake fluid. So we're going to go ahead and rebuild that cylinder. If you have a Honda Magna from 1982 to 1987, the procedure should be the same. Let's get to it.
To do this job, you're going to need a few things. On the parts side, you will need a rebuild kit. I went and ahead and got one with a piston included, which wasn't strictly necessary in my case, but I didn't want to have to do the job twice. My kit did not include the gasket, or probably more accurately described, spacer, which you might want to get because I ended up using some Permatex Ultra Black gasket maker instead. Again, it's not really a gasket, it's more of a spacer, but get that if you can. For cleaning purposes, you're going to need paper towels. Q-tips came in handy, and I used a Scotch-Brite pad to get the inside of the slave cylinder clean. On the tool side, you'll need a torque wrench. You'll need a C-clamp, not necessarily this big, that's just the one I grabbed. That's to get the new piston back in, or the old one, whether you reuse it or not. You will need a razor to scrape off the bits of the old gasket. On the tool department, you will need an 8mm open-end wrench for the brake bleeder, a ratchet. You will need 2 sockets, an 8 and a 12mm. An extension is useful. I used a big extension, but a short one would probably be fine. You'll need some sort of thin, strong item to push the old piston out of the slave cylinder. I used an M6 bolt of about 3 inches length to do that. You'll need a Phillips head screwdriver to remove the screws holding the master cylinder cap on. You will need some sort of thin, soft implement. I used a popsicle stick to help push the new slave piston seal in. It was a little bit tricky to get there, and I didn't want to damage it in the process, so I didn't use a screwdriver for that. I used something wooden. On the brake bleeding side, you will need something to catch brake fluid in, 1 or 2 items. In this case, I used a cup and an old oil bottle. You will need some fresh brake fluid. And I used a little vacuum pump here, which makes life much easier than it otherwise would be. Technically, you don't need that. I think you can actually bleed it without a vacuum pump, but I always got better results with a vacuum pump, so that's what I used.
The first thing we're going to do is remove this left-hand side cover, that engine cover that's covering the clutch. This is held on with 3 8mm bolts, and it's got a bunch of fancy chrome washers and rubber vibration dampeners underneath it. So as you're removing them, make sure you don't lose those. Next, we're going to unbolt the clutch slave cylinder itself, which is also held in with 3 8mm bolts. It looks like we're going to have to undo the banjo bolt first, because we can't even get to that 3rd bolt without undoing the banjo bolt. The banjo bolt is a 12mm, and of course, as soon as you start loosening it, it will naturally leak brake fluid everywhere. So have a catch pan or a cup ready to catch the drips. Next, you're going to want to clean up this whole area where you've had brake fluid leaking, including on the frame. Brake fluid doesn't really play well with oil or certain rubber seals, particularly the ones used for oil. And of course, it doesn't play well with your motorcycle's paint job either. So you want to make sure you get everything cleaned of brake fluid as best you can. I know some people use like brake parts cleaner for that. I'm actually just going to use isopropanol. Lastly, I'm going to use a razor blade here and remove what's left of this gasket here, which there isn't much of it. This is actually more of a spacer than a gasket because it's actually a weep hole in the bottom. So this actually isn't supposed to seal against anything. It's just more of a, like I said, a spacer. Okay, now we got to get the cylinder, or the piston if you will, out of our slave cylinder. So I'm going to take this random M6 bolt here, and I'm going to push it, go ahead and use it to push the piston out. You can use anything to do this, just got to be long enough to make it, you know, to the bottom here. And, oh, there we go. Okay. I do have a little bit of, I guess, residue, corrosion, whatever you want to call it, on the inside of this housing, so I'm actually going to go ahead and hit it with a Scotch-Brite pad here and see if we can get some of that off before we go ahead and put our new system in. Okay, that looks pretty good now in terms of sealing surface being clean. Now I'm going to take the opportunity to go ahead and get a Q-tip in here and clean out the brake bleeder port, which I noticed has some crud and filth in it as well, which isn't going to help us in terms of getting this bled and not leaking afterwards. Now that this is fully cleaned and otherwise ready to go, we're going to go sit it in the sun for an hour or two so that any residual solvent boils off and evaporates before we go and put this back into service with brake fluid, because obviously we don't want anything water-based getting into the brake fluid. Now we're going to prep our replacement or our rebuild kit. I got a new cylinder because I didn't know if this one was going to have corrosion or etching on the side of it, as well as a new seal on the side, seal on the top, and then the spring on the bottom. Pretty straightforward, you know, just put the pieces together exactly like they are on the old one, and then you're ready to go. Okay, we've got our clean and ready to rumble here slave cylinder. We've got a freshly rebuilt slave cylinder piston. We're going to go ahead and stick that guy in there, or try to at any rate. Gonna be a little challenging to get the seal in, I imagine. And we're gonna give it a little bit more encouragement with the big old C-clamp here, so we can get the rest of the way home. My caliper rebuild kit unfortunately did not come with a replacement gasket, and of course this isn't actually a gasket anyway, it's more of a spacer, so I'm going to be using some Permatex Ultra Black to run a bead around the edges here to serve that purpose. I'm going to deliberately leave the bottom portion here unsealed because that's where the weep hole is. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and bolt up our slave cylinder, freshly rebuilt, so we can get this thing back together. And because these are M8 bolts in a aluminum block, we are going to give them a very light torque of 7 foot-pounds. Next we have the clutch banjo bolt, which gets torqued to 18 foot-pounds, 18 to 22. And of course, you should have 2 crush washers, one on either side of the banjo. Now we're going to go ahead and refill and bleed the clutch hydraulic system. The clutch on these bikes uses .3 or .4 brake fluid. .4 being the easier to get and actually cheaper at this point, and of course better performing. And so I've gone ahead and taken an empty oil bottle here. I've hooked up a hose to my bleeder screw here, my bleeder valve, and put a paper towel around it so we don't spill more brake fluid all over the place. And then up here on the handlebar, I've tilted it all the way to the left so we get more or less a level liquid here, and taken the cap off the reservoir. So we're going to go ahead and refill this and start pumping brake fluid down until we get it out of the hose here. And once we've got
all the bubbles out, we'll hook up our vacuum pump and go ahead and see if we can get all the air bubbles out completely that way, and then we should be good to go. Okay, now I'm going to cheat a little bit and use my little hand vacuum pump here to pull vacuum on this hydraulic system and get all the bubbles out that way, rather than just flushing buckets of brake fluid down the drain. It is quite a bit more efficient to do it this way, as you can see from all the bubbles coming out. Once we think, I say think because you may have to do this a couple times, that's why I haven't taken the hose off or anything yet. Once we think we've got all the air out, go ahead and put the cap on your master cylinder for the clutch, and go ahead and pump the lever a bunch of times to make sure we're fully actuated, and then turn the bike to on, but don't start it. This will give you your neutral light, and then you can use that to put the bike in gear. Either first or second will do. It should be impossible to roll back and forth, or at least difficult without applying some serious force, with the clutch disengaged, and then when you engage the clutch, you should be able to roll it both forwards and backwards with minimal resistance, kind of like you see here. If that's the case, and it should also shift easily from first, second, etc. Oops, looks like I'm still neutral there. Should be able to shift back and forth without giving you too much trouble. There I'm in second, and it rolls forward and back pretty well with the clutch in. So I think we are probably good here, or at least we are good enough that I can take it on the road and test it that way. Now that we're finished, we can go ahead and drain off our overflow hose here. Catch as much of the brake fluid as we can so it doesn't make a mess of everything. And then put this clutch cover back on. Well, that's all I have. Thanks for watching.